strategies that you use in order to lower your weight, and when do you do this? Like, do you do it the day before, a week before, 1 month before? So we're talking about how do we make our weight go down, and when do we do this? And so these things is going to be your fat, your muscle, the fluid or the water, and then also what's in your gut content. And so this is the way we need to think about it. We need to think about, like, what are we actually changing and when can we change it? Okay, and basically the way to think about it is like this. So longer term, weeks to months, is body fat and muscle, and then short term is fluid, so water, as well as what's in your gut. And this seems like very obvious, right? But it's important to understand because, like, some fighters, they will stop drinking water like 2 weeks before, or drink very little water. But we know that we can do this in like a few hours or days. And the same thing is, like, body fat actually takes a long time to lose, right? In 1 week, maybe you can lose 1 kg, maybe. And yet some people, even when they're like 3 days before weigh-in, they're still doing very low calorie to lose body fat, but you're not going to lose much fat in 3 days or 4 days.
Yeah.
And so basically that's the way your body works. It's simple math. It's like, the way to think about it, it's like a bank account, right? It's the money that comes in and the money that goes out. And the bank account is your body fat. When you put too much, like if you earn $100 in a week and you only spend $50, the bank account's going to go up. The exact same with body fat. If you eat too much energy or eat more energy than what you're burning, your body fat's going to go up.
Damn, I do the opposite.
Yeah. And then conversely, if we burn more than we eat, your body fat's going to go down. Super simple, but that's all it is. When it comes to body fat, this is what it is. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how much calories is in the food that we eat, right? So all of the food that we eat is made up of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and maybe alcohol. We shouldn't talk about this too much, although some people drink, but these are what we call macronutrients. The most calories is the fat. Protein and carbohydrate actually have the same calories, so 4 calories in 1 gram. Fat is actually more than alcohol. And so what this means is, right, when you're trying to lose body fat and you're trying to get your calories down, what you really should be doing is reducing the fat. Maybe you need to reduce carbohydrate a little bit as well, but you need carbohydrate for training. That's what gives you the energy. And fat, putting oil on your food, eating the fat on your meat, this is going to really get the calories up.
Coach, what about good fat?
Yeah, so I mean, you need some fat. It's good for your health. But in terms of energy and the energy balance and losing body fat, it's just calories.
All right, so it's not a good idea to even eat, let's say, avocados during this.
It depends on how much.
Okay.
But even for a short period of time, making your fat a bit lower is not going to hurt you, and it's the easiest way to get the calories down and also still eat some carbohydrate to get energy. So here we have butter, which is like pure fat. Then we have broccoli or any vegetable, which basically is a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate, but it's mainly water and fiber. So 330 grams of butter, 7 kilograms. And of course, you don't just eat butter or just vegetables, but you can see if your diet has more of this and less of this, you can eat much more food with keeping the calories low. And the hardest thing when we're trying to lose fat is that you're fucking hungry. So it's like, again, the hardest thing, because a fat loss diet, we know it takes time. Maybe you got to diet for 6 weeks to get the fat down. And you're going to go crazy if you don't get to eat a lot. So what we're trying to do is figure out a way that you can still feel full, eat a lot of food, but keep the calories low. So here's just some example. So here's just a plate of rice and chicken, about 450 calories. And then if you add a bunch of vegetables, it goes to 470. So the calories is barely any more, and yet this is going to fill you up a lot more. And then this slide here is talking about your drinks, right? So here, 700 calories. You add an orange juice. This is basically just sugar and water. Now it's gone up to 825 calories. So if you just have water, it's much better.
Water is 0.
Yes.
All right.
I'll just show you a few more. We'll go through this quick, but basically this is looking at the equivalent, right? So these 4 little things that have got a lot of fat, a lot of oil, this 4 is the same as all of this. And this one, same. Bag of chips, same as all of this. Both 2,800 kilojoules, but the big difference is this one have more protein, much less fat, more carbohydrates. So this one's going to give you some energy for training. This one's just a lot of fat. This should show you some examples of like if you were to have breakfast. If we went from like fried noodle to not fried noodle, high fat milk to low fat milk, bread with butter to no butter, you save 200 calorie, and you're still eating like same sort of amount of food, but because you've removed a lot of the fat, you save a lot of calorie. One more example, if you have a piece of meat like this, I know it's delicious, but I have a lot of fat, and then you have some salad with some very oily, creamy dressing. If you choose a leaner meat, and then you choose like vinegar instead of creamy dressing, you also save a lot. This is some suggestions. Of course, everybody is a little bit different, but this is basically the targets that we set for our athletes. So 1 week out, we want you around this. And then 2, 3, 4. So here is all fat loss, right? And then when we get from here to here, this is the weight cut. Fat loss, weight cut. And so you can see like these ones are very slow, right? Ideally, you lose like less than 1 kg per week, half a kg to 1 kg. Just slowly get your fat down. And then at the end, we do the big, because it gives us energy for training, particularly with high intensity exercise. I think both of you said when you cut the carbs, you feel like shit. Yeah. And so again, that's why it's smarter to get the fat down, so that way you can still eat carbohydrate. Now, it doesn't mean eat all the carbohydrates you want, but it still means we want some carbohydrate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we'll just be smart about how much and be careful about the fat. Most people understand protein. It's good for our muscles, for strength, but also recovery, and it also helps us adapt to the training and stops us from getting sick. And then the vegetables, this is the big one. So vegetables, very important. They provide you all the vitamins and minerals, as well as help repair the body, prevent illness. But the best thing about the vegetables for the fat loss phase is they're going to fill you up without giving you all this extra calories. Fat, we definitely need fat. It provides energy. It also have like some vitamins and minerals. And it can fuel us for low intensity exercise. If you go for a walk, your body can run on fat. But if you're sparring, you need carbohydrate. Yeah. And definitely we want to decrease this when it comes to lose fat. This would be a suggestion for most MMA fighters. When you put it all together, this is a pretty good way to look at your plate. Maybe 1/3 vegetable, 1/3 carb, 1/3 protein. Okay, simple way to look at it. If you're trying to lose fat, more like this. Half a plate of vegetables, maybe 1 hand of carbohydrate, 1 hand of protein, and then lots of vegetable. For people that are trying to gain weight or on very hard training day, maybe you have half a plate of carbohydrate.
Nah, kalau buat
So yeah, in the last 1 week, we're losing water, we're losing gut content, the stuff that's in our gut, and then like you said, the glycogen, which is the carbohydrate that's stored in our muscle. So basically, the way this works, the carbohydrate, because our body needs carbohydrate for exercise, our body is very good at storing carbohydrate. But the thing about this is when your body stores carbohydrate, it joins water to it. So this is extra weight that we can lose. But you can lose it very quickly. You can lose it in 1 week or less. So you don't need to do low carbohydrate for like 6 weeks. That's why it's better to go low fat, low calorie, still keep the carbohydrates up. And by doing this, you can lose, I think you already said you lose 3 or 4 kg from doing the low carb? Yeah. All right, so now let's move on to, this is like gut content. So when you think about it, at any one time we have a bunch of food sitting in our stomach. And if you shit today, maybe you shit food from 2 days ago. It can actually take 2 or even 4 days for some vegetable to get all the way through into the toilet. The other thing that this does, the vegetable, when it's sitting in here, it draws a lot of water in, okay? Because all that fiber, you can think of it like if you get grass and you like put the grass in water, imagine like all the grass with water soaked in it, yeah? So you can imagine if you're getting the fat down and you're eating a lot of vegetables, you're gonna have a lot of weight of vegetables sitting here. So we also want to get rid of that before we step on the scales.
Jadi
And there's different ways you can do it. So one, people definitely do this. I don't know if you boys have ever done this. I see a lot of fighters do this. This definitely works, but you feel like shit. The other one is like laxatives. People will take this, shoot it out. This also works. If you just stop eating for 3 days, you'll shit it all out and you'll be empty. But the thing is, when you eat rice, right? If you eat rice, that goes into your intestine. Basically, 100% of the rice goes into your blood because rice doesn't have very much fiber. The only stuff that ends up in the shit is basically
the fiber.
Yeah.
What about the meat?
Same with meat. Most meat will be absorbed. There'll be a few tiny little strands. Yeah. All these ways is like not good because feel like shit. If you don't eat it all, you're not going to have any energy, right?
Yeah.
So the way we do it is to do this low residue or basically low fiber diet.
Jadi
So fiber is very good for us because it has vitamins, minerals, helps us feel full. Like fiber, you 100% need it. But because we know that it hangs around in our stomach and draws water in, this is some extra weight loss that we can get. Yeah. So if we do for here it says 2 to 3 days, but we normally do 3 or 4. If an athlete has a lot of weight to cut, I'll get them to do 4 days with zero fiber, just to make sure they're 100% empty.
jadi 4 hari.
Yeah. And so basically, it depends. If you're still eating carbohydrate, you can have a little bit of low fiber, like white rice or white bread. But for most guys, they're not eating carbs at this stage either. So basically, what they eat is just like meat and eggs. So yeah, you do that for 2 to 4 days, something like this. You'll stop shitting. Once you do this for 4 days, you're empty. You can't shit. You're just empty. And the big thing about this, let's say you lose an extra 1 kg from doing this. Most people lose more. Maybe you'll lose 1 or 1.5. That's 1.5 you don't have to sweat.
Yeah.
And the most dangerous thing of the whole weight cutting is the sweating and the heat.
Yeah.
So now on to dehydration. So basically, goes up and down so fast in the body. We don't really need to think about this until probably the last 2 days. What we do during this time, it depends on how much weight you have to lose. We do anywhere from like 24 to maybe 36 hours before weighing. You start to either decrease or just cut the fluid.
Jadi
The sweating right at the end. Ideally, you do the sweating as close to the weigh-in as possible.
ya dan kering.
If you think about it like this, when you're 1 week out, you go 3 days of no carbohydrate, so just protein and vegetable. And then after that, you do 3 to 4 days of no carbohydrate, no fiber, and only protein and fat. So it's basically meat and vegetables, and then meat and eggs. And then the last day, no water. Depends if you've only got 2 kg to go and you know you can sweat 2 kg easy, then maybe you can drink a little bit. But if you have a big weight cut, just no water last day.
Tergantung.
I won't go into too much detail here because it's just a lot of information, but I just wanted to talk about after the weigh-in. Basically, the things after weigh-in that is important: carbohydrate, water, salt.
Paling penting.
And basically, you need to drink at least this much. That's because when we're trying to get the weight to come back on, it's basically just water.
Yeah.
You know, you're not trying to, if you're trying to gain 8 kilos, you're not eating 8 kilos of food. You're drinking 8 liters of water, but then you're also giving some salt and some carbohydrate to kind of make the water stick.
Jadi
And the kind of foods to choose is food that is very high in carbohydrate. A little bit of protein is okay, but keep low fat, low fiber at this stage. If you do it right, it's like this. You just, and then put it back in 1 week. So that's basically all I wanted to talk about today. Keep it like very general, didn't want to say too much. But the main point is that the difference between the fat loss phase and then the weight cut at the end, this is very important. And then to understand the difference between calories for the fat loss and then all the other tricks that we do for the weight cut.
Oke, jadi